One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Foreign interference in American elections, something we've all been on the lookout for since 2016. But there's also a really disturbing information environment in America right now, domestically in this campaign year. That has nothing to do with illegal foreign interference. In fact, it's American as apple pie, a long tradition of extremely rich, real right-wing cranks, from Henry Ford to H.L. Hunt. The world's richest man, Elon Musk, is trying to control American politics. He talks to Donald Trump several times a month, according to reporting in the Wall Street Journal. Trump has expressed interest in offering Musk a role auditing government agencies in his second administration, according to the Washington Post. An idea Musk enthusiastically embraced just yesterday. Because
I found this to be so funny. We're actually watching Chris Hayes of MSNBC whine and moan about a platform basically getting behind a candidate, and oh my God, we can't have this happen. There's no place in American politics for a rich white guy to basically get behind another candidate. Really? How obtuse can you be to say something like that while you're sitting on the set of a national broadcast program? MSNBC does nothing but 24/7 lick the boots of everybody in the Democrat Party, and they're freaking out because Elon Musk has aligned with Trump. It's delicious. These liberal tears are delicious.
Because Elon Musk runs one of the most influential internet platforms, or at least it used to be, formerly known as Twitter.
Oh, it used to be. At least it used to be. Now, ever since he's aligned with Trump, it's no longer influential. Well, then why are you doing this spot on your nationally televised show? If it's not influential anymore, why bother even talking about it? Doesn't mean anything. It's a crap platform. Don't worry about it. Why are you talking about it then?
And he has essentially turned that platform into a pro-Trump, pro-authoritarian disinformation machine, where he just posts vile bigotry and disinformation that millions of people see and share.
He just posts vile bigotry, which millions of people see and hear. Do these people not look in the mirror? I'm serious. When you get up in the morning and you go to take a shower, does it not dawn on you that, wow, we may be the most obtuse people in the world? We're complaining that platform is talking well about Trump, and it's disinformation and misinformation, and it's vile, and oh my God. Meanwhile, have you ever turned on the 7 o'clock hour on your own station? You know, the person who comes before you, Joyless Reed? You ever just turn that on? I'm just wondering, Chris, because it sounds like you have no idea what's going on your network.
Despite his site's own policy that you may not share synthetic, manipulated, or out-of-context media that may deceive or confuse people, Musk does that basically all day long.
Stop. See, he's obfuscating a rule, a terms and condition. You cannot put stuff out there unless it's not something that can be confused as real. Those pictures of the AI-based pictures of Kamala are obvious to anyone with half a brain that they're not real pictures. There's no deception there. Everybody knows she wasn't in a Soviet-style uniform. Everybody knows that. It's called AI. It's called wait for it, a meme, making fun of something. The left has no humor.
One day he posted this weird and pretty schlocky AI-generated image of what is supposed to be Vice President Kamala Harris, but doesn't really look like her, in a Soviet-looking uniform. Commented.
Exactly. So you just basically discounted what you said earlier. You can recognize it's not her. You can look at that woman's face and go, well, this woman looks a lot better than Kamala Harris does. So you know it's a meme. You just said it was a meme, but you're trying to conflate and tell your stupid audience that no, he's doing this stuff and he's deceiving people.
Kamala vows to be a communist dictator on day one. Can you believe she wears that outfit? In point of fact, I can't, because she doesn't, and it's AI. That post alone was viewed more than 81 million times, at least.
He just said it. No, I can't believe it because I know it's AI. Okay, then move on. What's the rest of your story about? What are you worried about?
According to Twitter's metrics, which, who knows if you can trust them.
How do you trust your ratings? Nobody's watching MSNBC, especially your Chris Hayes show. Maybe Rachel Maddow. But how are you trusting your ratings? Just gonna say. Because your audience are absolute dolts if they believe that anyone's watching the Chris Hayes show.
Then there's this from just yesterday. Musk boosted an hours-long interview between Tucker Carlson, remember that guy, and a Nazi apologist.
He actually put this out on his television show. Tucker Carlson and an apologist.
Writing, very interesting, worth watching. In that interview, the Nazi apologist says how the Nazis weren't prepared for all the detainees they had and people just died in the camps. Yeah. Later, Musk deleted the post, but not before at least 8 million people saw it. So if you go onto Twitter, you likely saw it yourself, because since he took over, the algorithm has been tweaked to make sure every post by Elon Musk is seen by everyone.
Maybe it's because the guy has 196 million followers. I mean, you got Chris. When you get more followers and people engage with your stuff, that's what the algorithm's supposed to do. If you engage with something, even here on YouTube, the algorithm says, hey, you must like this, let me show it more. So the people who are engaging with Elon Musk's, his content, they're going to see more of his content. I understand that bothers you because nobody is sharing your stuff.
Tech newsletter Platformer received documents last year showing that Musk ordered his engineers to build a system promoting his posts to everyone on the platform, regardless of whether or not they follow him, which is, let's be honest, probably the real reason he bought the thing in the first place.
I showed that to you for one reason only. As we're waiting for the Sean Hannity show, we're going to have a little talking here. The left is losing it. They are completely freaking out. They see what's happening. I had put up a poll earlier, do you believe in the pollsters? And what we're seeing now is basically some of the pollsters just completely disintegrating. None of their stuff is making any sense. The real pollsters, the ones who have credibility and want to have their business beyond November 5th, are starting to show the real numbers. Polymarket showing the real numbers. They're showing the distancing that's beginning to happen, which we knew was already there between Kamala and Trump. The contrast is too great. In fact, Trump's got me up and running full blast here. He does a half an interview yesterday with Sean Hannity. He gets on this morning and talks economic policy with people at the big bankers up in New York. He's got the second half of this thing here tonight. Tomorrow, I believe at 2 or 3 o'clock, he's talking to the Fraternal Order of Police. Saturday, he's got another rally. And during this entire period of time, nobody knows where Kamala is. She's holed up in a Pittsburgh apartment, studio, whatever, trying to cram for the debate like some college kid. Just completely gone. Meanwhile, Crazy Timmy is out running around doing all his crazy stuff. And it's just going to widen because now some of the media people who realize they've been lied to and realize they may have a job after November 5th are starting to realize, well, maybe we just can't do everything Kamala says because she won't even talk to us. And because she won't talk to us, let's start telling people what we're having a problem with. So you're going to love this one because this is CNN. If you went like this and closed your eyes, you wouldn't believe that this report was shown on CNN. They're coming for her. She doesn't realize it, but they're coming for her.
Tonight, K-File investigates. In a new report, you'll see first out front. The K-File team scoured Kamala Harris's tweets and statements going all the way back to 2017. And what they found was more than 50 instances of Harris slamming Trump's border wall. But now, new Harris campaign ads actually showcase that very wall.
As a border state prosecutor, she took on drug cartels and jailed gang members for smuggling weapons and drugs across the border.
And on top of critical tweets, Harris also wrote in her 2019 book, quote, "There was a bigger reason to oppose the border wall. A useless wall on the southern border would be nothing more than a symbol, a monument standing in opposition to not just everything I value, but to the fundamental values upon which this country was built. How could I vote to build what would be little more than a monument designed to send the cold, hard message, keep out?" Well, K-File's Andrew Kaczynski joins me now. So, Andrew, I mean, you all have gone through, scoured an incredible.
So if you guys don't know this K-Files guy, he's been no fan of Trump. He's been all over. He's trashed him for years, and he's been basically a Democrat operative. And he puts together this report that he's talking to Aaron Burnett about, and they basically have just destroyed everything Kamala Harris has said about Trump's wall. In fact, she's using it in her ads. She's stealing everything from Trump. She has no campaign. Right now, her entire outlook, perspective is, what can I steal from Trump?
Amount of material. Tell me more about what you found.
Yeah, that's right. We found more than 50 of those tweets criticizing the border wall before she used that in her ad. And I want people to take a look at just a few of what she said here. She called it wasteful, useless, a waste of taxpayer money, a vanity wall project, a wasteful border wall, a stupid wall.
So how is she going to defend this at the debate? How are you possibly going to come back now when all this information is out there and they're setting it up? You know, she's basically been two-faced. She's a complete hypocrite at this point. Nothing that she says makes any sense. And Trump just needs to sit back, well, that was my idea, and that was my idea, and she wants to take this idea. She's got nothing of her own. And I think the media is beginning to see this and going, we've been hoodwinked. We've been bamboozled.
A medieval vanity project and an unnecessary wall. And those are really just, there were more of this, just like 10 or like 50. But there was really a lot of this was the common refrain during the campaign. You read that quote where she said it was against everything that not only she stood for, everything America stood for, and she brought this up a lot. Take a listen to just one instance of that in 2019.
It's the president's vanity project.
His multi-billion-dollar vanity project called a wall is nothing more than a distraction from the fact that he actually hasn't focused on working people in America. He contrived a national crisis around his big distraction.
All right, so you go through all of that, you've got all the tweets, and yet all of a sudden in the ads, there's pictures of the wall, and then you went through to look at that wall. Yeah. Like, what is that specific wall that's in her campaign ads now? And you found something very interesting about this specific portion of the wall.
And I think what's also really remarkable about this is, like, I mean, you heard her talking about it there, Trump's wall in his campaign during his presidency. There was really no greater symbol of Trump's presidency than the wall, in the way that Democrats were attacking him over the wall and his restrictive immigration policy.
All those attacks have just simply gone away because she has now said she wants to build a wall. All right. Again, as I said earlier, and I will continue to say, all Trump's got to say is, why didn't you build it? What are you waiting for? You're still the vice president. You could go back to the White House tomorrow and tell Dementia Joe, we need to do this. I'm sure the Republicans would back it. I'm sure every single Republican would say, yeah, put that wall up. So why don't you just do it? What's stopping you from doing it right now? She can't answer that.
So we looked in that ad, and if you look at it, that exact area of wall is in Sasabe, Arizona, and that is a portion of wall that was actually built by Donald Trump. It was built in an area where there was not previous wall. It was actually pretty controversial when they were building it at the time. So just to see that, and then there are other...
She's using his wall that he built to say, look at what I did.
Aaron Burnett just sitting there slaying it. She's using his wall to say, look at what I'm going to do.
And the other images of the wall, we weren't able to pinpoint, but there's telltale signs that was a Trump wall, because there's an anti-climbing plate on top that became popularized during the Trump years.
It's really incredible reporting and important. All right, Andrew Kaczynski and K-File, thank you very much.
So you have to ask yourself at this point, why would CNN drop that kind of report? Why would they drop that showing her to be a hypocrite? What do they know that we probably do know that she doesn't know? Are they seeing the writing on the wall going, hey, listen, it looks like we're going to have to capitulate. This guy's going to be the new president. Are they beginning to see it? Is she pissing them off by not doing any interviews because nobody knows what she's talking about? She's basically putting out policy by ex post. She puts out another one today after Trump did the economic speech, basically copying what he said. Yet if you go to her website, nothing there. No policy whatsoever. And I'm seeing these idiots trying to defend this strategy of, no, don't say anything. Don't worry about it. She's got it. You'll see. We're 60 days from the election. It is September 5th. The election is November 5th. And as of today, there is nothing on her website that says that what she's going to do. Not a thing. But this one here, I thought was great. There's something that's said here that basically tears the veil off of everything. It shows how much of a hypocrite, fraudster, I would dare say, this woman really is. This is Mark Cuban talking on CNBC this morning. It's amazing.
On this unrealized tax issue, gain issue, and where we've talked about, those who are taking loans against their unrealized stock, et cetera, et cetera. And then they say, well, if you start to tax that, we won't be able to make investments in startups. We won't be able to give money over to venture capitalists and private equity folks and other things like that. What's your feedback to that distinction? Because I wonder, once there's a critique of one, then of one policy, and you get rid of that policy, then of course it moves to the critique of the next version of it.
CNBC's had it. They can't make heads or tails of what this woman is talking about. And Mark Cuban, every single day on X, has been out there protecting her, saying she's fantastic. She's so much better than Trump. Everything she's doing, she's going to be fantastic. She's going to be great. And he goes on CNBC, and this guy's like, come on, man. What are you talking about? She makes no sense whatsoever. So listen to this. I'm going to point two things out here.
Well, of course, but Okay, so what I told him was if you tax unrealized
What I told them. So he's talking to the Harris campaign.
gains, you're going to kill the stock market.
If you go forward with this unrealized capital gains taxing, you're going to kill the stock market. He just said that on CNBC, where every business person, every investor goes, exactly. We've been telling you that. You can't do this. You can't tax unrealized capital gains. He dropped the bomb right there. It will kill the stock market. Not much more you can say about that, but listen to something else he says.
Right, and it's going to be the ultimate employment plan for private equity because companies are not going to go public because you can get whipsawed, right? I mean, my own personal experience back from the internet days, right? All of a sudden, I was cash poor, but equity rich, right? My net worth was enormous, but the number of dollars in the bank wasn't enormous, and so I'd have, based off of the unrealized gains, I would have had to borrow money, and I effectively would have been in hock just to pay my tax bill.
He's killing her. This is one of her biggest business surrogates, and he's killing her. Hey, I remember when I sold broadcast.com, and I made my gazillions, but I actually made it in stock. I didn't really make it in cash, so I had all this stock sitting here. I had billions in stock. I didn't have a whole bunch of cash, and I wouldn't have even been able to afford the unrealized capital gains tax that she's talking about. I would have to have gone into hock. I would have had to borrow the money just to pay the tax that this woman is bandying about out there. Mark Cuban, for however you think about him, just blew her out of the water. That should be a Trump commercial. Hey man, it didn't work, and everyone knows I made a gazillion dollars, I'm a billionaire, blah, 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 but I had it in stock. Broadcast.com was his big company that he sold, made gazillion dollars, but it wasn't pure cash. Most of it was in stock. You couldn't do anything with it. You had to wait. I'm sure there was an SEC rule that said you couldn't sell it in so many months or whatever. That's often the case. So this guy's sitting on $1 billion in stock and going, I'm going to get paid. I'm going to be able to sell this stuff, but right now I can't sell it. I just got to sit here. I got some cash. But if this was Kamala Harris's plan, I'd have to pay the tax on it now, even though I haven't realized that gain. I would have to go borrow it. He destroyed everything she said.
Instead of trying to run my company and 1,000 other reasons, right? So they realize that's the issue. I can't repeat it enough. Even though she's not directly conflicting the Biden tax plan, to her value proposition is we need to tax everybody fairly.
So he's been talking behind the scenes with Kamala Harris's team. And he doesn't realize right now that these two people, you're going to see a woman here in a second from CNBC, who's going to come on and basically put him in a position where he really blows the deal. What he says when she starts asking him questions. You got to listen close here.
I'm starting from the Biden plan as a starting point, but that's not necessarily her ending
Mark,
point.
let me just say, I appreciate you calling in, telling us what you're hearing on these fronts. That's great. But as you've said yourself, you can't speak for the vice president. These are things they're telling you. Who knows what they're telling other people? My guess is they're telling anybody who's donating to them exactly what they want to hear at this point. What matters is what they say publicly and what they will stick to.
No, absolutely, positively not. Right. Let me just be very clear.
I don't know. Why do you think that they're telling you the truth and not telling other people other things?
Well,
if they won't say it publicly, say it publicly. Tell all of us so that we can hold you to it.
I get it, but you've got to get the details right. You can't just...
They're telling him one thing. They're telling people in public another. She got him to say it. And what was his answer? Well, we got to get the details right first. Oh, so she's going back and forth with you, telling you, this is what we might want to do. And you're saying, but you can't talk about it, but you just did. And now you've got two anchors on CNBC who have basically exposed you as being full of crap. This woman's like, you're telling people, you're talking, basically she said, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth here.
But we have 60 days till an election. Like, you're asking people to take a flyer.
Even if it's the day before the election, right? Even if it's the day before. Look, the next question is, the second thing I was going to mention earlier.
I just don't want everybody to trade on what we think and what we feel and what we think may happen.
Exactly.
Just tell us.
I get your point exactly, right?
I get your point exactly. Yeah, we know we're BSing the American public. I know some things that you don't know. She's telling me stuff that she's not telling you. And you're just going to have to wait maybe even the day before the election. You won't know. You got to pass the bill before you can, know what's in it. You got to elect this president before you know what she's got to do. Who in the hell wants to do that? How are these people okay with this? Well, I can understand why Mark Cuban's okay with it, because he just said, I know what's going on. They're telling me, they just ain't telling you. Oh, so you got some insider trading information here on what this president really wants to do. You just don't feel comfortable talking to the public about it. You may not know until, one day before the election. That ain't going to sit well with these media people. Now they're starting to dig. Now they're starting to expose Kamala, and she's in hiding. She's cramming for the debate. They got 5 or 6 more days of this stuff to happen, where people are now just starting to turn. That was CNBC talking to the investment world. CNN, which is in every airport and a lot of business people who travel, just exposed her as being a hypocrite. Things aren't going well in the Kamala Harris camp whatsoever. Tomorrow when I do my polling show, it's going to be a little bit different, because I'm going to probably just talk about 1 or 2 pollsters, because they're all full of crap right now. And I got to tear apart this video by Professor Lichtman, whatever his name is. Completely idiocy, what he says. Let's see, the plastic Pelosi strategy. Yeah, just pass it. Let's not forget, Mark Cuban is never on the winning team. Just look at his basketball team. That's funny. Public info, deep secret government info. Don't want us to know. I'm voting for a businessman who ran for president and won. The economy was great. Absolutely it was. Norma Jean, thank you very much. Kamala might have to rent Biden's basement. Hopefully she rents the little desk too. You saw the little desk. I like this Barry guy. Thank you. Mark Cuban, jumping ship. We're going to see some of these people now, to save their own credibility. They're going to have to do some ship jumping. Because at this point, they're probably going, oh boy, this one is crazy. What am I going to do? And then we all hope. We hope that she gets exposed on September 10th if she shows up. And it could be over. It could actually be over. It's looking that bad. If she's falling as fast as she's falling now, and she has a bad debate, it could get real ugly real fast. Somebody said compare business strategies. 11,000 watching. Wow. All right, so let me stop for a second. It's just about 9 o'clock. Let me make sure everything's ready to go. Just to let you know, so some of you guys might have been here last night, and what we had was the town hall. The town hall that Sean Hannity kept talking through, and they never got to the audience question. So tonight, whatever that transpired after they went off the air, they kept talking, the cameras kept rolling, and they took the questions from the audience. And so now what we're going to see tonight, hopefully Sean won't talk too much, and we'll actually get to hear questions from the audience. It is now 8:59. I'm watching Jesse basically finish up here, and then it'll go to Trump. So we're going to go right to it as soon as it comes on. Hopefully they don't waste any time and they start talking to people. He's doing this stuff, as I mentioned, while Kamala is AWOL. And the funny thing with her, Tim Walz, he's useless. There was a lot of information that came out today that said maybe they're having second thoughts because of picking Tim Walz. Too late, no refunds. That's your guy. That's your guy. Too bad. Sorry. Man, J.D. Vance is going to eat him for lunch. It's going to be horrible. So she doesn't really have a lot of surrogates out there. Nobody that's really going to be able to hammer. Trump's got the dream team. Tulsi, RFK Jr., J.D. Vance. I'm pretty sure that, with RFK Jr. and Tulsi and Nicole Shanahan, I mean, it just keeps growing. She doesn't have anybody out there. In fact, Taylor Swift was supposed to be one of her big surrogates. Taylor's out in Kansas City getting ready to go to the NFL game. So we're looking right now, and Jesse's doing his signature wave, and we are going live to Hannity right now.
Welcome to Hannity. And tonight, early voting in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania gets underway in only 12 days. Now, the first mail-in ballots will be sent out to voters this Friday. That would be tomorrow in North Carolina. And the election is a mere 60 days away. But Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, they have conducted only one short interview. Combined, they both literally run from every question, even though shouted by friendly reporters. They have held 0 press conferences, no town halls, gaggles, none of it. In the same time frame, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance have participated in well over 40 interviews in town halls and press conferences, including last night in Harrisburg, PA, where the former president took questions for more than an hour. In fact, well, we couldn't fit it all in just one show. I did have one more question for the president. You'll see the answer to this in a moment. And that was about whether or not the president would, in fact, how would he debate Kamala Harris? Is he ready for what she's about to throw at him, which I think is pretty easy to predict. But let's first go to audience questions from our exclusive town hall with former President Donald Trump. Thank you for staying to take questions from the audience. You know, I always plan out, I do all this research to ask you questions and you just go. But we came here also to hear from the people of Harrisburg. Before we get to the people, I want to again we introduced him last night on the show. Dave McCormick is the Republican Senate candidate from Pennsylvania. Senator, great to have you. I'll give you a chance to say a couple of words.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Sean, and thank you for Mr. President for being here in the Keystone State.
And let me know if the volume is okay. This is part 2. This is going to be the audience questions that they couldn't get to last evening. But make sure you let me know if the volume is okay.
In the world, our adversaries around the world, Iran, China, Russia, North Korea, are testing us. They're challenging us. We've lost deterrence. They think America's weak. They think America's on retreat.
Right.
And my question to you is, on day one, when you're back in the White House, how do we restore deterrence? How do we bring strength and capability back to our military? And how do we make sure that everybody in the world knows that America is back?
So thank you, David, and good luck with the race. It's really important that you win. I hope you're going to vote. He's a great gentleman and he's a great warrior. The first thing we have to do, we have to strengthen our country from within. And we have a lot of bad people from within, but we have to straighten it. We have to, number one, have a border like we had it 4 years ago, which was strong, where the wrong people didn't get in. We have to have that. The other thing, we want to become, again, energy independent. We were energy independent 4 years ago. And what we really want is energy dominance. And then, as you know, I rebuilt the entire military, and we had it like nobody has ever had it before. And then this guy gave away $85 billion worth of equipment to Afghanistan in the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. But we have a lot more than that. We rebuilt the military. We want to be strong, but we want to do it peace through strength. That's what we want. Peace through strength. We shouldn't have to use our military, but we're going to have the greatest military in the world. Thank you, David.
All right, ma'am, hi, what's your name?
My name is Deborah Williams.
Hi, Deborah, how are you?
I'm good now.
Hi, Deborah. Oh, because of me or because of the president? I'm just guessing. No, I'm kidding.
I plead the fifth.
Good answer.
Mr. President, I want to thank you for coming and sharing your time with us today.
Thank you, Deborah.
What could you share that you've learned during the first time being in the Oval Office for those who are hesitant to vote for you now?
So we need a strong president. And, you know, I actually think we had a very stable administration, but we were hit with this weaponization. We were hit to weaponize. They've never done this before. The weaponization, all of the different Russia hoax, all of the different hoaxes, and we won every single one of them. The most important thing, and I found it, and you could say this is true in business also, we have to get the right people. When I first went there, 2016, I had a lot of good people, I had a lot of good advice, but I put people in that in some cases were not what I really wanted because I didn't know much about Washington. I was there 17 times in my whole life, and I wasn't in D.C. very much, but I got to know them, and I got to know them the hard way. And I know the good ones, the bad ones, the weak ones, the smart ones, the dumb ones. I know them all now. And the key, and we had great ones. I mean, economic development, we did so well. The military, we did fantastically well. We knocked out ISIS, 100% of the ISIS caliphate. We have some great people in the military, not the ones that you see on television, but great people. But a big key to running it is get the right people. You put the right person and the right group of people at the heads of these massive agencies, you're going to have tremendous success. And I know now the people, and I know them better than anybody would know them. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Governor. Ma'am, hi. Ma'am, what's your name?
Sue Helm.
Hey,
and I'd
Sue.
like to welcome you to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Thank you.
We love you both. So
that's nice.
wonderful.
Thank you.
I'm a small business owner. I'm the owner of Century 21 at the Helm Real Estate.
Good.
The 4 years of your presidency, Mr. Trump, were the best economically I have experienced in the 35 years I own this business. And my question is, what are your plans and policies to restore the economy so small business owners can thrive and make America great once again?
Good.
Thank you.
Good. You know, we had a woman who was very spectacular, Linda McMahon, and she ran the Small Business Administration, did a phenomenal job. And that's a very important group for what we're talking about with small business. But to put it a little simpler, we're going to have low interest rates. We're going to have low taxes. We're going to give you tremendous incentive to grow and to build your business. And, you know, a lot of people have said that. They said, one person who didn't support me, he said, I must admit, I had the most successful 4 years of my life, but I'm going to vote for some. I said, and now that person came back to me. I don't want that person. I don't want that person. You know, they say you should take everybody, but that's not the way I'm built. It's one of those little problems. This person, no, this was in the Republican primary, said, I had the best 4 years I've ever had under Trump, but I'm going to support this one. I said, that's the end of that, you know, when they came back. But we're going to lower interest rates. We're going to have low taxes. We're going to have tremendous incentives for small business. You know, small business is much bigger than big business in this country when you add it all up. And we're going to take care of small business in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir.
I'd like to welcome you both here, and it's an honor to stand before you.
Thank you, Trey.
Mr. President, is it possible to correct the extensive damage the current administration has caused related to our safety and security? From the border crisis to the plethora of weapons left behind in Afghanistan, I fear for my 3 adolescent sons. At night, what do I tell Cale, Kate, and Cole about their safety and their future of this great nation?
Well, the first thing you should do is pray.
Amen.
Because what they've done to our country, right? What they've done to our country, what these, and I hate to use the word, what these stupid people, naive people, but bad people, you know, weaponization. Again, they're after me. I got more court cases. On Friday, I have one. On Monday, I have one. And they do that for very bad reasons. They don't want you to campaign. They want to keep you off the campaign. They want to try and take as much money as possible instead of putting it in. But let me just tell you, the hardest problem we have, because a smart president will be able to get along with Russia, China. There are a lot of reasons why. But the biggest problem we have is they've allowed 21 million people into our country. And I told you last night, I tell you tonight, it's the single biggest problem. They've poisoned our country. They're coming in from prisons. They're coming in from mental institutions. Terrorists are coming in. The criminals are coming off the streets in Caracas, Venezuela, but all over the world, not just in South America. It's the single hardest problem that we would have never had. If I were president, you wouldn't have that problem. You wouldn't have inflation. You wouldn't have Russia attacking Ukraine. You wouldn't have had October 7th with Israel. You wouldn't have had the Afghanistan disaster, which I think is the single most embarrassing day in the history of our country, where they have billions of dollars of equipment. We lost 13 great soldiers, and I celebrated and honored their wonderful, they call them their children, then they are their children. They're wonderful children. They're kids. I went to Arlington Cemetery with them the other day, and at their request, and Sean knows this better than anybody, and it was very tough for me to get there, I will tell you. I don't want to say that, but it was very tough. I was in a different part of the world, frankly, and I got there. And we had a beautiful couple of hours together. First, we had a ceremony, and then we had we went down to the grave sites, and they said, "Sir, could we have a picture with my son?" In one case, it was a daughter. "Could we have a picture with my daughter?" We took pictures. We stayed for a long time, and then I left, and that was it. I thought it was beautiful. And those people are phenomenal, what they've done. Joe Biden and Kamala killed those children because of their incompetence, just like they had a gun that killed them. And I went home, and I thought it was a beautiful thing. I told my wife, I told a great first lady who people love, they love her, but I said, it was so sad and yet so beautiful and joyful in a sense. I mean, the people, they had something that was very special. And I went there, and, I had them up to Bedminster. I got to know many of them, most of them. But I get home, and I get a call from one of my people. "Sir, they're saying that you use this for public relations purposes." And you know what happened? It was so beautiful. Every one of those people made a video to say that Donald Trump came there. I got enough publicity. I don't need publicity. I'd like to get half the publicity. I'd be very happy. But they said that, and you saw the videos. The videos became very, very well known and famous, actually. Some beautiful statements. And I went there. I got nothing out of that except to take care of people that were not taken care of by our government. And Joe Biden and Kamala should call those people and apologize, because that was the most incompetent withdrawal in the history of our country. There's never been anything. So think of it. We took the military out first. You're supposed to take the military out last. Once the military was gone, they had free shots at us. But we took the military out first, and then it began. We lost 13 soldiers. Many were horribly wounded, meaning no legs, no arms. The face was obliterated. Many, we don't even talk about those people, and we have to. We left Americans behind, and you cover that better than anybody. We left many Americans behind, and we left billions and billions of dollars of brand new military equipment behind, that now they are one of the largest sellers of military equipment in the world. Afghanistan, they're selling the equipment that we just walked away from. It was so incompetent, but to be with those people was a real honor, I have to tell you. And for them to go out of their way, and every one of them made a video, they said, "Sir, could you take a picture next to the grave of my son?" I said, "Of course." Could you imagine if I said, "No, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it." But every one of those people appreciated it, and every one of them made a tape, and they sent it out, and it became very viral, as they say nowadays, and it was a great honor for me to be there. Thank you.
And I should add, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were both invited. And this was not, you knew these families. You had met with them at Bedminster.
Yes,
you were familiar with them.
I knew them.
And they invited you. You went, and they said, "Would you take a picture?" And then you did, and then you were attacked and then the families were furious at Kamala about it. I think this is going to be the last question. What's your name, sir?
Hi, Alistair Hackett from Spring Lake, New Jersey.
Hey, Alex.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I'm a recent college graduate and am concerned with the growing influence of wokeness in many of our top institutions. We saw General Milley take this to new heights under his leadership in the military. What is your plan to combat radical ideology in the military and in our corporations?
Well, first of all, Millie, that day in Congress where Millie proclaimed his wokeness was an embarrassment to our country. And remember this, we don't have a woke military. We have some guys at the top that talk it, but you couldn't convince them to be woke if you were screaming at them for 5 weeks. We took out 100% of the ISIS caliphate in 4 weeks. It was supposed to take 5 years. And I got to meet the real generals, and they are unbelievable. Our military is unbelievable. Remember it. Unbelievable. There's no wokeness. There's no wokeness. And all we're going to do is you go out, you get your degree, you work hard, you're going to see a different country. We have to get elected. If we don't get elected, I don't know what's going to happen to our country. I just don't know. They're so bad. And normally I wouldn't say that. I'd say, well, they're working, they're a Democrat. These aren't Democrats. These are people long beyond Democrats. When I used to say to Sean on his show, I'd say our country, Sean, will never be a socialist country. And it won't. It'll be a communist country. They skipped socialism. We cannot let this happen to our country, because if it does happen, we'll never be able to come back. We'll never be able to make a comeback from it. So we're going to have a big election. This is Pennsylvania, a very important, the Commonwealth. You never want to call it a state, the Commonwealth. If you ever call it a state, I've seen their political career ruined by saying the state of Pennsylvania. No, you never want to call it a state. Now, I'll tell you how dishonest they are. They'll take that one little statement where I said the state of Pennsylvania, and they'll play it, the state of Pennsylvania. They'll cut it.
Well, there's one other thing.
Let me just, because they're fake. And one thing we should say, not him and not Fox, and we have a couple of others out there that are good, but the biggest, a great enemy to this country is the fake news media. It's a big, big enemy. And they have to change their ways. They have to change their ways.
Before we let the president go, because this is airing part 2 on Thursday night, I want to ask you the final question. In 5 nights, you'll be on the stage, not with me, but with Kamala Harris. Now, if I'm going to make a prediction, I think she's going to try and annoy, agitate, irritate, frustrate, and piss you off, to use a phrase. And are you aware of how she debates, and probably every name in the book she can call you, and without giving away your tactic?
Yeah, you don't want to do that, but when I had Biden, you and I had the same discussion, and I let him talk. I'm going to let her talk, because, you've all seen it. There are those that say that Biden is smarter than she is, okay? And if that's the case, we have a problem. But, debating's an interesting thing. I've been in many debates. I think I probably won because of debating, maybe. We had a lot of debates with the Republicans. Then we had Crooked Hillary. We had a lot of different people we had to debate. And we had some great debates. You do remember the Rosie O'Donnell debate. Remember Rosie O'Donnell? She's a real great one. Isn't she a great one? Anyway, but a debate is interesting. You can go in with all the strategy you want, but you have to sort of feel it out as the debate's taking place. I've seen it. You go in there and you have a strategy. Mike Tyson made the statement, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. It's true. It was a brilliant statement. It's a brilliant statement. So I could tell Sean exactly what I'm going to do, but, things change. It depends a lot on ABC. Will they be fair or not? If they're not going to be fair, I'm going to be a little bit different than if they are. I hope they're going to be fair. We're putting a lot of reliance on a network which is known for being extremely hostile to the people in this room and to, I think, 75, 80% of the country, if you want to really know the truth. But, Sean, all I can say is this, I've seen Mitt Romney go and lock himself into a log cabin for 4 or 5 weeks, and then he came out and he was horrible in the debate. He couldn't talk. He gained great knowledge. He couldn't talk. And Candy Crowley came out and she made a terrible statement that turned out to be wrong, but it destroyed the guy. But look, you have to, the way I look at debating, I think I've been really practicing all my life for this stuff. I mean, ultimately, that's what it's sort of about. So it'll be an interesting evening. And the Biden debate was a very interesting evening. I was sort of surprised by it a little bit, by, what he did and the way he reacted. And you don't know how somebody's going to react. Even a professional, you don't know how they're going to react. And you have to sort of go with it as you get up there, Sean. I'd love to give you an answer. This is what I'm going to do, Sean. But when you get up there, you sort of, because I've done a lot of it. I went from never having debated to having done a lot of debates.
But if she's going to try and annoy you, but that's not
I think
happen.
we have a bigger problem. I think that ABC will try and annoy him.
I bet that too.
Okay.
President Donald Trump. Thank you, Harrisburg. All right, many thanks to our friends in Harrisburg, PA, and it was great to see so many of you.
I'm not sure why that was so short. I didn't plan on it being 5 questions. I don't know what Fox News is doing. I don't know if Paul Ryan is calling the shots there and making it short. But in any event, that was a 4 or 5, I think it was 5 questions that he took. I saw a bunch of guys talking about the sound. That wasn't me. The sound was perfect on my end. I had 5x5, no problems. I'm not sure if some of you guys just didn't have good connections as it was streaming. Maybe you're on your phone. I'm not really sure. But in any event, that was the extent of the questions that he took from the audience. Sorry it was so short. I didn't plan on it. Nobody told me. They just said that here we go tonight. We're going to have part 2. So that was part 2. It is what it is. At this point, I think he doesn't want to say too much more than what he's already said. Doesn't want to give Kamala Harris any sort of idea what's coming her way at the debate stage. I'm fine with what he said, actually. I'm more fine what he said this afternoon at the economic meeting, because he gave a speech about economics that was off the chain. It was amazing. There's no way she could do that. And also, he took 4 or 5 questions there as well. So I'm not really sure, why he cut that, but that'd be what I would think it is. Yeah, I still think it was great. We still got to hear the guy. The sound is still bad. I can't help you. I'm looking at everything. It's fine here. It's been fine for most people. It's got to be your connection. I'm streaming. I've got a really, really strong connection because I do this all the time. So I'm not really sure what it could be. Yeah, he doesn't want to tip his hands. Absolutely. Remember, his threat level is high. We shouldn't judge why he spent time or not. He's there. Interesting you say that. If you guys haven't seen the video earlier, go ahead and check it out on the channel. He was talking about his economic plan. And when it got to the end of that event, he took a few questions, and then something interesting happened. Somebody pointed out to me that I didn't really notice until I went back and looked. If you watch the end of that event, the guy says, that's all the questions we have to take right now. President Trump is going to exit the building, and we need all of you to stay in your seats. And I didn't think anything about it until after somebody pointed it out to me. Like, why would everybody have to stay still while he exited the building? He didn't say Trump was going off stage. He didn't say, that was the end of the event. He said President Trump is leaving. Actually, he said exiting the building, and we need all of you to stay in your seats. And I just thought that was very interesting after I went back and watched it. Maybe a couple of you guys in the military or in the police could tell me why would you give that kind of instruction to a crowd and say, don't move, just stay where you are, let Trump exit. Just thought that was odd. So you may be onto something. He could indeed be getting a number of threats, and given how he's been protected, that may be why he had to do that. Yeah, I didn't even notice it either until somebody emailed me and said, go back and look at the end. So if you don't want to go all the way and watch the whole thing, go back to like the last, 10 minutes. When he's done answering questions, you're going to see that. And I missed it as well. And after you see it, you'll understand it. That was kind of weird. He is exiting the building, and we need you to stay in your seats. Never heard that before. Well, the good thing about him cutting short, because the crowd is unknown and may follow him out, the good thing about this is that you're going to get the ability not to lose too much of the football game. I understand that they had a rain delay. I'm not sure if they're playing yet. Kansas City Chiefs against the Baltimore Ravens, first game of the NFL season. Keith Round said he noticed that. What did you think it was, Keith? Not really sure what it was. Somebody else said I missed it as well. Probably for security reasons, but I'm not sure what would have caused that. Crowd control. Hey, Tommy. How you doing, Tommy? Crowd control is essential in maintaining security. Yeah, everyone needs to pray on this guy. He's seeing so much, so the motorcade can move out. People are saying he had to exit where the audience would, so they had to keep it clear. All right, so you guys understand what happened. I just found it was very odd. Never really heard that being said before, but I caught it. If you guys go back, you'll hear it. So they only took 5 questions. Hannity, he should have been able to finish that up last night if he didn't interrupt so much. But this is where we are. Today is Thursday. Tomorrow, Friday, he's got a speech. I don't know if I'll be covering it. He's talking to the Fraternal Order of Police. If I have time, I'll go ahead and go live with that. Other than that, I'll have a couple of videos tomorrow. And then Saturday, we've got a big rally in Wisconsin. Forget what the name of the town is, but he's going to be somewhere between Milwaukee and Minnesota at an airport. So he's going to bring in the big plane. That's going to be the backdrop. And he's going to have tens of thousands of people, different kind of energies. Earlier today, people were like, why does he sound so tired? And he sounds so, like he's not high energy. He sounds bored. Giving a speech is a lot different than doing a rally. People in that audience were businessmen, bankers, high-level people. They just want to hear what you got to say. It's not rah-rah. Whereas at the rally on Saturday, it's going to be screaming and yelling, and everything else is a lot different. These people here were screaming and yelling, and his demeanor was completely different. But in any event, that's what we got there. So, it's in Mosini. I guess that's how you would say it. Mosini, Wisconsin. That's where we're going to be. I won't be there. Just to let you know, those of you who stayed, those of you who have been watching the channel for some time, you guys know that I forget what rally it was a Palm Beach County rally, and I had set up a trip where I flew a husband and his wife into Fort Lauderdale Airport. We put them up in a hotel on the beach. My wife and I went and had dinner with them. And they were supposed to go to the rally, but they couldn't go to the rally because it had rained out and it was rescheduled and blah, 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 blah. But I'm doing it again. I'm going to announce it probably during the debate. So make sure you're here during the debate. We'll do the giveaway during the debate. I'll announce how you can register and how you can enter on Monday's video. So make sure you're here Monday. Watch the video. Make sure you hit the all notification notice. Doesn't cost you anything. Not selling anything. We're going to give away, my wife and I are going to give away a trip down here to Fort Lauderdale. Going to put you up in a hotel, a nice hotel. Ain't going to be some sleazy Motel 6. Not that Motel 6s are bad, but it's going to be a nice hotel on the beach. You'll get to hang out, go to the beach, play around. We're going to have dinner, and it's all on me. Those of you guys who donate to the channel and you wonder, like, what do I do? Well, I do a lot of things. And one of the things that we do is give back in this regard is someone's going to get a free trip for a weekend to come down to Fort Lauderdale. Maybe I'll do the Hard Rock. Maybe you'll get to stay at the Hard Rock. But in any event, we're going to set all that up. It's going to be amazing. It was fun. This couple that came down before was from North Carolina. They got to stay right on the beach. Actually, they were staying in Delray, right on the beach. We had dinner with them, and then the next night they went and played. It's just my wife and I, that's how we want to give back to our listeners. And so we're going to do that beginning on Monday. Those of you who stayed here, you just knew, since you didn't get the full show, I'm going to give you something else. So Monday, make sure you're here. I'll show you how to enter. And somebody, 2 people actually, the husband and wife, or wife and husband, or I don't know, maybe you want to come with your daughter, son, whatever. 2 people will be flown from anywhere in the continental United States down to Fort Lauderdale, hang out on the beach, and have dinner with myself and my wife. And I can't wait to meet some of the people that would be coming down. This time it's going to be 2, and then we'll follow it up right thereafter, because I got a suspicion, although he doesn't need to campaign down here, it's in his backyard. I think Trump is going to do a rally, Miami, but maybe here in Boca, and then we'll do another trip as well. So come in Monday. Well, before then, come in tomorrow and Saturday. But, well, you know what? Saturday I'll announce it. We're going to have the rally on Saturday. It's going to be a big crowd watching. Saturday I'll tell you how to enter to win a trip to Fort Lauderdale and dinner with my wife and myself. And it ain't going to cost you a dime. I mean, whatever spending money you want to have. But look forward to meeting two great people who participate in our broadcast. So I'm going to get out of here, go watch the football game. You guys go watch the football game. Have fun. We'll see you tomorrow. If I have time, I'll do this Fraternal Order of Police speech. But if not, I'll end up doing a different video. And then Saturday, we've got the big rally. And then you guys will find out on the debate who wins to come down to Fort Lauderdale. See, it's perfect timing. It's starting to get a little chilly up north. You know, because you don't have to come down like right away, but we'll set up the date where you do get to come down. And it was funny, I was looking at the temperature today in Kenwood, Pennsylvania, and I'm like, 57? I forget, that's right, it's a change of season up there. It's starting to get a little bit chilly. Perfect time for a couple people to come down here to the beach. You'll love it. You'll absolutely, if you've never been to South Florida, you'll absolutely love it. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, and keep that in mind for Saturday. We're going to do the contest beginning on Saturday. Moderators, you're going to have to do some work, as people are going to go nuts getting a free trip. Talk to you tomorrow.